your whole life watching movies, from the bad to the good to the best. Well, here comes a series from the U.S. that rivals all of the rest. From the humidity down in Alabama to the where is Wyoming, we got 50 films to show you. After that you might not feel a thing. It's the worst state of movies to make you sit down and think. And it's the worst state of movies that might even lead you to drink.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dragonfire's new series, Worst State of Movies. As always, I'm Wildman Wes. Now, for those of you that have been around for the almost 8 years that Dragonfire Entertainment has been around, you know that we tend to do a lot of movie reviews on decent movies, and we get some stinkers once in a while. So when you see a title like Worst State of Movies, you get the idea that the movies that are going to be in this series are going to be bad. Probably really bad. I took some time to go online and research some of the lists that people have put out, what they consider the top 50 films from each state that were the worst movie that were filmed in that state. So I looked at the list and went, you know, I haven't reviewed a lot of these movies. Some of them are horror movies, and I know Shocktoberfest is coming up in a few months, but I figure this could get us in the mood in that Halloween spirit, don't you think, folks? But enough chit-chat, we gotta get into this because we have 50 movies to review. So, let's start off with our first state. Our first movie comes from Alabama with 2018's Hurricane Heist. Most of us are familiar with disaster movies with tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, Twister, Earthquake, Backdraft, even Dante's Peak. Those definitely fit into the realm. However, there are movies that are considered disasters with action, and this one has that blend of disaster movie and action, and we're going to get right into this immediately. The film starts off in Gulfport, Alabama in 1992, where a man and his two young sons are driving through the middle of a storm, and eventually their truck gets stuck amongst the rocks after missing a tree that's falling over. They go into an abandoned house, and when the dad goes to try and start up the truck again, he unfortunately has a fatal accident with falling farm equipment. And the two boys are stuck in the house as it flips on its side. They survive the hurricane, how I'm not sure, but it's movie magic, right folks? Now we fast forward to present day, and the youngest of the two brothers is now a meteorologist and also a scientist, and his older brother is pretty much a washed up alcoholic who is just chasing after women. And that, unfortunately, that can happen after somebody goes through a traumatic event, such as the death of a family member in such a grotesque way. Then again, there isn't a lot of grotesque violence in this movie. It's very tame, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. So while they are finding out there is another hurricane similar to what happened in 1992, only worse, the town is trying to evacuate. While the town is evacuating, there are mercenaries sneaking in to break into the Department of Treasury to steal over $600 million. And while that is going on, one of the agents that accidentally brings in the mercenaries, unaware that this is what they're planning to do, she runs away and eventually gets captured. The older brother of the two finds her, gets her to escape. He gets caught. The agent finds the younger brother. They go on a chase of taking out the mercenaries, saving the money, and also protecting themselves from the imminent force of the hurricane. They eventually do, and some of the bad guys end up, they lose their lives in the hurricane, but everything seems to work out for the most part. That's the movie in a nutshell. And I'll be honest, I was my attention span in this one, it faltered a lot, and a lot of it had to deal with some of the dialogue in the script just seemed very, how do I put this? Plastic. It felt not organic. Everything was dry and deadpan, and eventually I'm thinking, was this one of those experimental films or something that somebody was doing out of college working on a master's degree? Because I remember when my brother used to make films in college, and they didn't have big budget, but you want to know something? They were funny. There was organic jokes, there was organic thinking, there was actually great acting, even from people in those films that weren't even in the theater department, and I love that. There was also some situations regarding stereotypes, and when I say stereotypes, I'm pretty sure a lot of you might go, hey, wait a minute. No. A lot of it has to deal with the stereotypes about how a lot of states near the South, around Alabama, Georgia, and whatnot, football is the big thing. And there's a lot of football lingo. And there are people that start making the football lingo jokes to try and insult some of the characters. I'm thinking, oh man, this is like reverse Varsity Blues going on right here. I don't know how I feel about that. Then we have a mercenary who brings up the fact that he's Irish and he's going to go to Ireland, and all of a sudden people start making Irish jokes. I'm just thinking, oh man, this is rough. This is rough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes stereotypical jokes can be funny, but these jokes were made not for part of the plot. It was just strictly for, we need to say something to establish some form of character, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. It just felt very bland and just forced, and no. Probably the only good thing in this movie was the special effects. Granted, one of the only special effects they really used was a skull forming in the hurricane when the boys are stuck in the house. And in seeing all the other special effects of the hurricane, and just the plot of it all, this movie is best described as Twister and Die Hard put in a blender, and you get Hurricane Heist. Best description I can give to you. Okay, now, since we have done grading in the past with the A to Fs, for this series, because of they're considered the worst movies of each state, I'm going to go off of the concept of whether or not it could be the worst film in that state. And a lot of that has to deal with the plot and everything up to the concept of rewatchability. And a lot of that is this a rewatchable movie? In my eyes, it is not. And it's just, I could barely keep my attention watching this movie. I was working on other projects while the movie was playing, and I'm going to have to agree. This is the worst movie that was filmed in Alabama. So, Hurricane Heist? Well, 1 down and 49 more to go. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you've seen this movie before and you agree with my opinions and whatnot, you can leave a thumbs up. And if not, you can leave a thumbs down. Hey, I understand that there are bad movies out there that people do enjoy. I myself have quite a few of my guilty pleasures as well, but we'll get to those at some point down the line. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, push that little red button, and ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you next time on our next episode of Worst State of Movies. Until then, take care.
It's the worst state of movies to make.